Good morning! Welcome to a new week. There was no stand-up video on Friday because in preparation for my last consult, I kind of got hit with this wave of stuff starting to glue together, and I needed to sit down and sort of start to think things through. And I'm in a little bit of that space today, but the weekend's definitely helped. It's a good thing, don't get me wrong, it's a good thing. But starting to see the similar threads through a few different areas that go into putting stuff together overall, which sounds vague for the moment, but it'll make more sense as I start to gel things together. But anyway, what am I doing today? I can tell you what I'm not doing today. I'm not going on social media. I had a workout on the weekend, Tavern of Voices voiceover workout. I run them monthly, and I set a ground rule at the start of the workout, not because what's happening in the world at the moment isn't important. Quite the contrary. It is. 2020 is a thing, and it just feels like it feels like we reach a point where this surely is as much as we have to deal with. And I know that even saying this, there's all sorts of privilege that come into what I'm saying, because what we're seeing at the moment is a reality that a lot of people have lived for a very long time, now becoming far more prevalent and now starting to come for us as well. And by us, I mean everyone who is not in a marginalized space, and that is hopefully going to affect some change. But I set a ground rule saying, look, we're not going to talk about this simply because moving in and out of that space will take so much of our time. To do that compassionately. And even now, starting to talk about it, I can feel that I'm not breathing properly. I can feel that I'm not grounded, because it's a lot. I'm just going to close my door just in case my partner comes home. She's out at the moment at work. But yeah, I think even though I've now spent a minute and a half like tangentially talking about it and not talking about it similarly, I'm going to avoid talking about it here, not because it's not important, but because if we do that, we'll be here for a long time. And the last thing that current events need is the opinions of another white dude. So I'm doing a lot of listening at the moment and staying off social media during the day, because everything that's happening, it just feels like getting pulled down into, like, the rabbit hole goes so deep. Anyway, as I bumped the mic because I'm a professional, what am I doing today? I'm wrapping up I will be putting together today my post on wrapping up epistolary narrative. And again, that was a great experience of asking the wrong question to get to the right answer. And this week, let's finish off what I'm doing today first, and then I'll talk about the rest of this week. I'm going to be doing some more study on verbalize, which is blowing my hair back, which I now have. I have hair that can be blown back. Reading through that continues to be a joy. Working through the exercises on that. So I hope I will get to that today. I'm going to be starting on a proof of concept for Discord as well. Why? Because last week shook out a few thoughts around external channels, and I think there's a reason why I didn't actually put a wrap-up post together around external channels, so communicating with external applications or external information. I'm going to come back to that this week, and I'm going to be putting together two proof of concepts, one of them specifically around external channels, which is Discord. I think I found a way of managing that in an interesting way. So I'm going to do some stuff around that. I'm also going to. I was talking last week around that proof of concept around interface friction, and I want to at least design that this week. So that's what this week is going to be. It's going to be those two proof of concepts, because I think that there's something important in both of them. Last week, while I was looking at, how did I even come to it? Oh, that's right. While I was looking at notifications. When I was looking at the notifications API, I came to the skill messaging API, which is a way of getting information back in to a Lambda skill, and that kind of started gears turning. So I think that's something that not I think, it's something that I'm going to look at this week, because I think there's something there in terms of, and I was really surprised too. I know I'm a little bit fractured here, but part of it is everything going on in the world, and part of it is just kind of thinking aloud while I'm talking to you. So I appreciate the consideration there, the indulgence, if you will. I was a little surprised because I had thought, I had read at some point in time that Amazon's requirements around Alexa apps meant that you couldn't use a companion app as part of a skill, but it's absolutely encouraged, which is fantastic. And not only is it encouraged, oh, there we go, my Mac's back up. I was just checking I was in focus too. I am. Not only is it encouraged, there's an API that allows you to get messages back into a skill. And so that started the gears turning around. Oh, well, what could you do with like having game engine, server, skill messages going back out from that, blah, blah, blah. This is why I'm talking about convergence at the moment and these threads that are going across everything. I'll see if I can find the quote. No, because I think it is, here we go. It is in my notes from Verbalize. Art is the ability to remove unnecessary details. And there's a similar quote around architecture, which I couldn't tell you who I'd ascribe that to, but the idea of that it's architecture is only complete when there's nothing else you can remove. And after going through this Sugar Plum Fairy's vision of like, oh, you could have all this tech, I sat down and I thought, no, hang on. This thread here, this thread applies to the technology as well. So how simple can you make it? So going back to first principles. DynamoDB, Lambda skills, that's it. Maybe a few Lambda skills to have some things to do different processing depending on the kind of skill that you're putting together. I'm always thinking of this in terms of the most complex scenario at the moment, because there is something that I'm working towards outside of the scope of this project. And this project isn't to enable that, but as I build up this skill set, I can see something I want to make that I think would be really fun. But it requires things like, for example, regular maintenance tasks, updating virtual economy, all of those things. It's far in the future, but if you were putting together something like that, what do you need? Lambda skills, DynamoDB. Everything lives in a database. That's where the brain of everything is, and it's all managed by Lambda. Anyway, we're coming up on 8 minutes now, so I think that's a good point to wrap up. Circling back around, shortest number of words possible. What am I doing? And there's one thing I forgot to mention there. So there you go. I'm glad we're circling back around. Putting together my post on epistolary narrative and everything that came out of last week. So closing off that week. That's today. I have a consult this afternoon with the amazing Alexander Swords. That's going to wrap up the conversations around epistolary narrative and a few other things to do with an evolution of the Forest Paths framework. It's been fantastic, and I've got some homework to do for that, which I'll be doing today as well. So the very first thing I'm going to be doing is revisiting the recording from our last chat, just to make sure I'm on the right page. So let's do that again. Circling back around. Shortest number of words possible. Revisiting the chat with Alexander, preparing for our chat this afternoon, putting together post on epistolary narrative, starting on Discord proof of concept. That's it for me. I hope that you've managed to find some peace and some balance and some rest over the weekend, and I hope that at the moment, with everything that's going on in the world, that you're able to be kind to yourself and to those around you. I hope that you can find some way to find either peace or meaning or comfort with everything that's happening out there in the world at the moment. See you tomorrow.